Hey, I'm your Korean dad. We're here in New York City in Washington Square Park. I really love how busy it is, how many people are around, just kind of walking around doing their thing. Everyone kind of has their own journey, their own story, their own life that they're living. And, you know, being at a place like this, it really reminds me of that, and I really love it. You know, a lot of times it can feel like there's real world, and then there's like the internet world, and those two things are separate and not the same. But I think that we all know that like what happens on the internet ultimately is people, that there are real people behind each one of these things. One person I feel like I've learned a lot about this stuff from over the past year or two is Kat Tenbarge. She's a journalist specifically covering the influencer economy and a lot of the content creators, and frankly, a lot of the drama that goes with that too. Kat's gonna be here any second. We can have a nice little chat, and then maybe we can talk to some other folks around here too, find out what they think. I think I see Kat coming now. Hi. Thanks for coming out and meeting with me. Can we walk around the park a little bit and have a chat?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Can you talk about sort of your work?
Yeah, for sure. Broadly, I cover anything to do with the online world. More specifically, my work usually focuses on influencers.
Okay.
And I've kind of come up with the unofficial term influencer watchdog.
Influencer watchdog.
Which sort of encapsulates this idea of influencer drama and scandals, which has become really popular online. But then also going beyond that, we kind of examine internet communities and this idea of accountability at large in the creator sphere.
My understanding is that sort of in the journalism field that this is sort of a new beat. Can you talk about what a beat means?
For sure. So a beat typically refers to, as a reporter, what do you cover on a regular basis, very specifically. My beat, being this sort of broad idea of influencer accountability, gives me a little more flexibility than more of a traditional beat. The idea of studying and covering digital culture is an emerging concept.
I know that a lot of your work sort of focuses around what some people might call internet drama.
Yes.
Yeah, like I know some of your important work that people might know about, stuff about David Dobrik and a few others. What was that like when all those pieces kind of went viral and everyone was talking about them?
It has been such a fascinating and weird journey. I definitely did not expect any of my coverage to go viral in the way that the David Dobrik piece did. And it kind of caused me to reconsider and just think about a lot of things like what my role is and what does my beat really mean and what types of effects and consequences am I looking for when I do this sort of work.
Yeah, I mean, was it scary when all that happened for you?
It was very intimidating. It was like I went from overnight having a couple of thousand people, maybe mostly people in the media industry, mostly people who were familiar with my work already, looking at like my tweets and my social media posts, to overnight hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people watching these videos that are disseminating my article. Interviews with me started springing up, and fans of David Dobrik and sort of the people in his blog squad, there was definitely backlash. And so I dealt with that on a scale like I had never done before, and I also sort of faced this wave of just like publicity and being in the public spotlight. Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot. I think that anyone who goes viral for anything, you know, whether it's being in the news or a video that you make or a tweet or whatever, it's exciting in a way because in many ways it's validating the work that you've put in. At the same time, there's a lot of, I guess, just negative experience that comes with it, because in that situation, they have a lot of fans.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fans that are passionate about who they're a fan of, those fandoms and such that we talk about, and that to them, you end up sort of being like this enemy that showed up and kind of ruined their fandom?
Yes. Yeah, one of my friends who's a content creator sort of put it to me like this, which I often think about. It's like for most people who watch David Dobrik, it's almost like a TV show. And for me to come in and do an article like this and cause all of these domino effects of consequences, it's like someone just came in and canceled your favorite TV show.
Right.
And so if you view the material as very surface level just for my enjoyment as the viewer, you can see how people took on an antagonistic view toward the work.
And so how did that make you feel? Like, have so many people angry and kind of angry at you who don't know you, have never met you before? What does that feel like?
It can be frustrating because on one hand, it's like you almost want to go around and individually like present your case to every single
Yeah.
person who's mad at you. I think that's a really human instinct to seek people's approval. So one thing that I had to learn how to do was become comfortable with the idea that people are going to disagree with me and all of my work and just the very purpose of my beat. People will disagree with that, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah. How do you think about your beat and like why it's important, why people should care?
The idea for my beat basically stemmed from I and many other people recognize at this point how important creators have become to our economy, to our culture. Influence is a real, tangible sort of thing that
Right.
these people have turned into power and money and fame. I kind of had this idea of people understand how big this is now. Now I want to kind of peel back this outer layer of success and be like, well, what are the ethical consequences of some of this content? And what is the structure behind the creators, that industry, what is going on in there? And like, are people being exploited in the process of these monumental rises to fame? And what I found is that there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack and uncover in this area.
Yeah, I mean, it really seems like a lot of folks who are influencers or video content creators who get really big, I mean, in so many ways, they're not really prepared for all the responsibility that comes with that. It feels like a big party, a lot of fun.
Yes.
But people get harmed in the process.
Absolutely. And we see this in what we think of more as like the traditional mainstream entertainment industry. Like this is a well-worn tale of small town actor sees huge success on screen and then is corrupted by the influences of Hollywood. The exact same phenomenon is capturing these younger digitally native stars. But unlike the traditional entertainment industry, there are not systems of regulations and, you know, well-worn industry people who are around to sort
Because
of
there's so many
shepherd
people
the process.
too.
Yes.
It's so many more, right?
Yes, the scale of it is just enormous, and it's like the Wild West of entertainment, like very lawless and reckless. And those things are sort of incentivized. When someone does something crazy on video and it goes viral, that incentivizes other people to push boundaries and sort
Right.
of see what lines they can cross before they go too far.
Yeah. I get worried a lot about content creators. I worry a lot about the stress that people go through.
Yes.
Especially as they grow, I feel like there isn't enough out there that kind of shows what it's like when all that happens. And a lot of folks experience a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, sometimes depression. I have
Yes.
friends who went into therapy specifically because they blew up on TikTok.
Yes.
And then their growth stalled. And then they felt horrible about themselves and didn't have anywhere to go.
Yes.
And that's something that I know that I'm really concerned about and I want to talk to more people about.
Yeah, and I, especially over this past year, can really, really relate to that. When the David story blew up, right before that, was in kind of a period where I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this beat, like I feel very disillusioned. And then there was this big rush of success, and then in that plateau period afterwards, I was sort of having like a mental health reckoning with myself
yeah.
of like, this is a new, very unfamiliar environment that I'm in. And I think for digital creators, you see that tenfold, 100-fold, a millionfold when you have this ability to go from no support system, no security, to just like tons of resources and power in a very
Right.
short amount of time.
Right, yeah. Can we talk to some folks out here?
Yeah, we
if-
should.
I want to ask them if they know about any internet drama and see if there's any conversation we can have about it. Is that cool?
Let's do it.
Can I ask your names?
Chris.
Oscar.
Is there any internet drama right now that you're aware of and keeping, that paying attention to?
I'm from Charlotte, so I heard about like LaMelo Ball got like caught up with some girl, and apparently she like took money from him. I don't know. I was about to watch this YouTube video about it, but that's all really I know about. Something about like LaMelo Ball.
When you're trying to keep up with that kind of news, like where do you go? How do you find out what's going on?
Definitely on YouTube, but Twitter. I love Twitter. Twitter's number one, and it always hits Twitter first, and it's always funniest on Twitter.
Definitely agree with that. Twitter is definitely a huge base for just like, internet culture and just like that kind of drama. Because
Yeah.
people just, it's huge. People just like have their opinions on there and they're really strong too. It blows up. They have threads and threads of just people kind of stating their opinions and stuff like that. It gets pretty toxic, but it's a drama, but it's a culture.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that the conversations start on Twitter and then they'll move on to like YouTube.
The coach for the Raiders, John Gruden, got like exposed for some homophobic shit, but like other than that, that's the last thing that blew up on Twitter that I saw.
Yeah.
Was like he got fired. So yeah.
Do you feel like that sort of internet sort of drama stuff getting exposed is a good thing?
I mean, my opinion could change, but it's probably better that it's there for now than not, just because like you're seeing like like politicians and like older people can't get away with stuff they normally would because the internet just exposes everything. Like you can't really fake very much.
Keep people honest.
So yeah, exactly. So it kind of makes everybody, I mean, it makes people fake, but it also keeps people honest. So
Can I ask your names?
Hannah.
Megan. Bridget.
Is there any internet drama right now that you're paying attention to?
I feel like the David Dobrik thing was probably the most recent.
Can you tell us about what happened there?
So Addison, her TikTok was deleted. And people like suspected that it was because she uploaded a video of her dancing that was like a little too sexual, so it like maybe crossed the line, but they restored her account like immediately.
Why don't you mention the David Dobrik story like as one of the things that sticks out in your head? Like what about that stuck out for you? Like what were the main sort of points there?
I'm not very into YouTube, but he was one of the only YouTubers that I actually enjoyed watching and actually liked. When all that came out, it was very off-putting. And
How did it make you feel?
I don't really know much about him, and I don't really know much about his past. I just recently have been watching his videos. I think obviously that it was in the public light that it may have been shown wrong, but I think that it was kind of sad that now I feel like I kind of feel shitty watching him. I've watched him like a few times since then, and I feel like if people like saw me watching, or when I think about that I'm watching him, I feel kind of guilty.
Then why do you still watch?
Because I honestly, he's one of the only YouTubers that I actually, like, it's a quick video while I'm just like eating lunch that I actually like laugh out loud at.
So this is Kat, again, she broke that whole story. You know, I mean, that's the thing about things like internet drama, right? It's like happening on the internet. It doesn't feel like real people necessarily involved. There's a real person right here. Like, she's a journalist, she works really hard.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you feel like if you actually got to meet these folks in real life, it would change your feelings about how these things play out?
Probably. I feel like if I was recorded as much as people like David Dobrik and Addison Rae were, that stuff would probably slip out, or I would probably do wrong things and would get canceled for. And so I feel like I'm kind of anti-cancel culture, and I think that I have like a little bit of sympathy for people who, especially like in their past, I think that everyone kind of deserves their voice to be heard, I guess.
What's your name?
Audrey.
So is there any internet drama that you're paying attention to right now?
Just know Courtney and Travis Scott recently got
Yes.
engaged. I'm pretty sure Scott is like fighting for his life right now, but other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
Is an engagement drama?
It can
It
be.
could be.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel like if you've been connected with another person for so long and then all of a sudden you get engaged with somebody else, I feel like there'd be some slight drama.
Yeah.
Especially after the fact that he messaged her ex or something along the lines of that.
Is that sort of stuff important to you?
Not really, but it's good to see other people's drama. I'd rather not have any drama in my life, but I like seeing other people get messed up
What
a
do you
little.
what do you like about it?
I don't know, I feel like because my life is so boring, it's fun just seeing, other people go through things.
For sure.
Yeah, what's your name?
Genevieve.
Is there any internet drama you're paying attention to right now?
For once, no. I'm like very surprised. I'm also just like very tired, and like the fact of like there's so much happening at the same time, not only with influencers but with our world,
Yes.
and then with communities and everything like that, that like my mind just like I'll see it in the news and I'll read it, but I'm not gonna do any deep dives. I'm not gonna look at like tea videos or anything like that. I'll focus on traditional news media because I can't.
So for you, like, where does internet drama kind of fit into the world in your head?
It's so hard because we have traditional media and like what's considered like the higher up, and then we have the intersection that's like these influencers and people that are able to meld into that like media. It's very much like levels of like depending on like what agency you have, where what form of privilege, what interactions you have, and like just chance as well, because very much so, like a lot of us know, chance is a huge factor in the algorithm.
I think that's an excellent analysis of how influencer drama intersects with mainstream news.
Kat, that was super fun and super interesting. Thanks for spending time with me.
Thanks for having me. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, and so where can people find your content out there?
So be sure to follow me on Twitter at Kat Tembard.
Or take care, best of luck, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. That was really fun talking to Kat and some of the other folks out here in Washington Square Park. You know, in so many ways, internet drama can seem kind of silly and not important, but Kat's right. It's important because there's so many people who are looking at it, especially young people. Folks who grow in influence in large audiences, they got a lot of people paying attention to what they're doing, which means, like it or not, they are sort of role models for the rest of us. Are you trying to grow a platform as a content creator? It In what ways are you thinking about the responsibility you have to be a good role model for others and model good behavior and definitely not modeling bad behavior? I hope I don't regret this, but leave a comment. Tell me about the internet drama that you've been paying attention to recently and maybe why you think that it's important that people talk about it, or if it's not important at all. That's okay too. Okay?